All right, guys, welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. As we have on the line with us our round of 16 first place position advancer honor in Group D. It is Millennium's Daishi. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, of course. Just won, so.
Bonjour, bonjour, ça va?
Ça va bien.
Ah, bien, bien.
I have to ask you a very hard-hitting and important question for question number one, which is, who has the worst French accent, me or Sean?
You, sadly.
Me? Oh, damn.
Ah, oui, oui. Yeah, congratulations. Your first time in the round of 16 with 2 attempts in Premier League last season. And I'm sure you must be feeling over the moon, especially because you went through a Protoss player 2, Daishi.
Yeah, especially because of that. I was pretty confident about TVZs, but I was really scared of San, even though he was playing from Korea.
Yeah, I mean, even though I was going to actually say that, even though he was playing from Korea, you still were pretty worried going into that first game then.
Yeah, I was really worried. And I think that if he was playing from Europe, I would be crushed. It was close. So.
Then I can't even start to imagine the feeling that you would have had after beating him, realizing that you were going up against a Zerg player no matter what. I'm sure you were obviously confident going into that, and why so?
Yeah, because TVZ has always been like trademark. It's my best matchup by far, and it has always been so. So I knew that everything was going well. And TargA and Ro32 are good, but they are not the scariest Zergs in WCS.
So you wouldn't have minded even if it had been TargA actually in that final map as well?
I'm a bit more scared of TargA because his playstyle is a lot on run-bys and stuff. And yeah, I have some troubles with it. And I think that overall he's a bit better than Ro32. So I was really happy that Ro32 beat him.
Cool. How were you training coming into this game? Was it just a very generic practice ready for this group, or is it more specific? Maybe mindset approach, or?
Actually, I watched Sans replays. It's the first time that I study someone. So that helped some. Like I knew he wasn't going a lot on Colossi, and he ended up going for it, so it sucked a bit. But yeah, I watched replay, and of course I practiced yesterday and today more to be sure to be on top today.
I mean, he brought a very, very similar opening to all 3 of those games, aside from deviating going on into the mid-game. Did you expect him to do that, or were you expecting him to vary it up or even be a bit more aggressive in that series?
I thought that he was going to do the same kind of thing that he did in game 1 with really early aggressions, because of the lag, he couldn't really go into a macro game. And yeah, we saw that in the 3rd game, that even though he went to macro games, he's trying to end it as fast as he can, because he cannot micro as much as I can.
So in that 3rd game, the winning game on Daedalus Point, when he came in for that attack, he had 2 upgrades finish, you were a little bit away from that, and you pulled the defense on that 3rd base. After that, what were you kind of going through? You know, 1-1, just 1 game away from winning. Were you feeling pretty confident after that hold?
No, because I thought that it was just some kind of timing push, but that he had 3-3 going on behind that and a Force Blaze. So I was just like, well, I'm not dead. I can still try to do my best to win and macro. As you saw, I think, well, you saw that I wasn't dropping or anything, because I was just trying to get into the late game where I knew that the lag was affecting him.
Yeah,
it's a bit lame, but
well, he
gotta win.
He cut 3-3, cut his probes out that game, and just threw that attack at you. So, I mean, us as casters and Matt Pack was like, well, Daishi's kind of done it, man. It's a great position for him. And then we talked about your approach versus the Zerg players, I suppose. But now moving on to the round of 16, what are your hopes? Are you looking for a group full of Zerg players? Are you looking to avoid Protoss players? How's your Terran versus Terran?
Of course, I just want Zergs any day, every day. But I'm fine, actually, because I think Protoss will get a bit nerfed by the next the round of 16. I mean, just the range, at least, of the Worship Core, it's going to be fine. Then my TVT is fine, so I think I can do well there. And
even with a group of Vortex, Nurture, and let's say Snoot, that's completely fine with you. Because they seem like the biggest names when it comes to Zerg players here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it actually. Oh, I wouldn't mind to lose against them because in TVZ it's all about skill and micro, and if you lose, you just know that your opponent was better, and yeah, I don't have troubles losing in TVZ. It's not like in TVP where you can lose on one bad storm and just feel really bad about it, or get cheesed and lose. So yeah, any Zerg, it's fine.
Any final questions, Sean?
No, it's all good for me.
I have one final question. Is that do you normally go back and watch the games, like the broadcasts of your games in particular?
Not really, no.
Okay, maybe. Well, you could either watch the replay of your game #1 against Mini Razor, or you can either watch the cast. Regardless.
Oh, my teammates told me about the baby.
Oh, okay. Dude, we went crazy. That was interesting. All right. Any last words, Daishi, before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to do some shout-outs to my team and all the French people watching because they're cheering a lot, and that's really great for me. Got a lot of support. Shout-outs to my teammates as well because they're great. They're supportive and always there to say some kind words. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome stuff.
Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, man, and we'll see you in the round of 16.
Yep.
Bye for now.
See you later.
See you.
All right, well, let's hope we have a couple of French fans that come with Daishi for support when he plays in the round of 16. Of course, when we do get to the round of 16 and we get the groups going and so on, is that we will have tickets on sale for you to come down to the studios in Cologne, Germany to support your favorite players. And I'm looking forward to that, looking forward to meeting some more of you guys, looking forward to the games as we have now 3 Terrans, 2 Protoss, and 2 Zerg into the round of 16.
Terran doing all right.
Yeah, 3 Terrans so far.
Terrans.
Pretty good. But now we're going to go into the next game immediately, where we have TargA and San waiting.
Yes, both of these players, unfortunately for them, did lose out on their first series, but now battle it out to see who is going to get the chance to play against Mini Razor. So we are flying through today, now that I think about it.
Just 2 games left.
Yeah. Just 2 series left.
So I think we have to kind of focal this point again here, is that San will be looking to play very decisive with his strategies against TargA. Just like against Daishi, he'll be looking to do the same here. He won't want to drag it to the later stages, obviously playing against latency, or playing with latency. Playing from Korea on the Europe server is not going to be easy. But if you look at his track record, a lot of his victories, even though he can go to the late game, do come from gaining early advantages in the starting points of most maps here. So TargA needs to play this out very defensively, needs to make sure he sees what's coming, deflect what's coming, and hopefully then can be in a good position the longer the game goes on.
Yeah, I mean, during Singapore, I was like, this guy is the Zealot King. He brings all the Zealots, and they do a lot of damage. And the interesting thing about it is he even has strategies orchestrated. Is like, I'm going to warp in a lot of Zealots over here, and I know they're going to die as they move in. But meanwhile, I'm warping in Zealots elsewhere, and they're going to be the ones that are doing the real damage. And to hear that he actually was doing this, like, in his mind, he was setting this up as a plan to like just sacrifice some units in certain locations, was just absolutely mind-blowing to me. But now, let's see what's going to happen here. In game #1, Habitation Station, spawning up to the top right, we have our red Zerg. He is TargA, again, representing Hearthstone for some reason. And up to the top left, we have our blue Protoss, representing Yo Flash Wolves. It is San.
So, San in the last couple of months, in his last couple of big tournaments, let's say in the last 6 to 8 months, let me just list off some Zerg players that he's beaten, which is really, really impressive. 3-0 DRG. That's pretty big.
That's good.
3-0 Hyun. That's pretty big.
Yeah,
2-0 Revival. 3-0 Vortex. 3-0 Life. Like, that's the last couple of Zerg players he's played. That's absolutely incredible.
He just doesn't lose.
He doesn't lose. And in PvP, we've seen he's a miracle maker there as well.
Yeah.
Versus Terran, he's never really had the strongest versus Terran, but overall, Protoss seem to be doing pretty well against Terran recently. So he seems to be a very complete package. The latency issue is going to hold him back today, as already he's in the loser bracket where a lot of people wouldn't have even expected him to be here. But can he, just show the right strategies to be able to beat TargA here today.
Yeah, I mean, he could happily ride the wave of PVZ to victory, in my opinion, from what we've seen of him before. And TargA is already being very mindful of if any proxies are going to go down here from his opponent, sending this drone down to the southern spot on his expansion, or at least trying to spot out a probe. See if there's anything crazy was going on.
And he's going to spot the gateway expand here from San. So first thing that's going to pop to his mind is like, okay, it's not going to be a Forge or Nexus first, which means the likelihood of the gold base being taken is kind of high here with the recent trend of how this matchup plays out. Also bear in mind that TargA kept San away from Premier League last year. I don't know if anybody knew that, but in Season 2, when San actually qualified for Challenger League, TargA knocked him out of the group stages and pushed him back into Challenger for Season 3, where then he found himself able to qualify into the Premier League for this year. So TarGA's done it before. Definitely now will be looking to repeat that process once again.
All right, from this pylon, there's a high likelihood that if we see San go to his normal builds, then he may just actually add a fourth gateway down back there if he actually walls off his gold base with 2 gateways as well. So this is something that TargA's going to be very mindful of. He's keeping that Overlord there. Very, very well positioned. It's
so funny because the way that this map is played so many times is that the gold base is taken. This second Overlord from TargA, this is not the usual. This isn't meant to be there. That's meant to be going around to tuck around the natural, the second base location, to have a look for any tech there. Immediately, TargA, in response to seeing the Nexus coming down, has thrown the Roach Warren.
Yeah, and we've seen this actually be successful. We've seen it be successful already when putting pressure onto this 4th base. And San, it's a high likelihood he's not really going to have many units to deal with this.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that TargA's what he's doing here, and I'm really sure he's practiced this a lot, because this is a very common strategy right now. He's going to go for roaches. He's skipping Zergling speed, so he's going to build a handful of roaches and then go back to drone production and then get Zergling speed later. The thing is, he needs to do damage with this. If there are... Let's have a look how far Warp Gate is, because that's going to be... It's been chrono boosted out. It's very important that researches here and completes. Sentries, utmost of importance right now to keep TargA away from breaking the gold base. Time Warp, not useful. Photon Overcharge, useful. In combination with Sentries and Force Field, even better. So 5 roaches is a lot. There's going to be Photon Overcharge ready, and Warp Gate research isn't that far away. Can he get to Sentries fast enough? Will he have enough gas?
This probe is sneaking around everywhere, and he finally gets spotted by an Overlord.
But saw no third base down early on, which would push towards aggression. 100 gas has been spent into the robotics facility. There's going to be another 100 gas soon, which is 1 force field. There is still the overcharge, but obviously the pylon can be destroyed or Zealot can be destroyed.
Yeah, but this is looking like the standard go-to of Protoss on this map, which is that Immortal push here.
There's 1 Sentry Claris. I remember these roaches have to do stuff. They actually have to do damage here.
Yeah.
They can't just be kept out and not do anything.
It hits at a nice timing, though, because the Robo facility is going to need Chrono Boost into it avidly to get an Immortal out so that he can actually deal with that, but... Wait a minute.
He's going, and 2 Sentries walked in on the gold. He was expecting this to be the gold, but it's actually gone up to the main. He creates a wall off immediately. He does have a force field for the ramp, though.
He does, but he's actually not throwing it. Well, there we go. Okay, so he seals in 3 roaches, but the 3 roaches are going to go to work on these pylons. There's another.
And a Forge has started immediately. He's like, holy crap, I need cannons.
Yeah. No, he really needs a lot of...
he needs another force field on that ramp too if TargA was to go back up there. But he's actually switching his attention to the natural. Now the Mothership Core needs to get over there for a Photon Overcharge quick.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's very close. It's very close.
Okay, so it can actually help out considerably here.
Yeah, why isn't he Photon Overcharging?
If he kills that pylon, actually that Robo facility is going to be unpowered. And that will delay this... Wait, kill it! Okay. Okay, that delays the Immortal from coming out, but he's got a few more pylons down.
But there's another 2 Sentries with 2 force fields on the ramp in the main. As long as he keeps hitting his force fields well, like he's doing, he's making this work. TargA's so low on drones, only units. All Sam needs to do, keep making sentries, keep the Zerg out, and he's going to find himself in a very strong position because over time, he keeps building sentries, he adds on +1 attack, he gets immortals being made.
Yeah, these 2 ramps, as long as you're holding on with the force fields, you are sitting pretty here as Sunny's doing
again.
well.
2 force fields again.
Seals quite a few roaches up there, but the immortal is there now, so it's all the harder for these roaches to really do anything when they're up the ramp. So the dividing and conquering tactic that we're seeing here from San is working out
He's force fields again, Claris. Whoop. Oh!
Okay, so a lot of Lings are on this left-hand side, but
Photon
they're not really
overcharge
doing
again.
too much.
Photon overcharge again.
Actually, they get in. They get in from a small sliver there in between that pylon and gateway that San was
Two
really not
sentries,
anticipating.
3 sentries.
Another
He's starting
Immortal.
to be broken. He missed those force fields. He missed the force fields which let the Lings in. All the sentries are gone.
The Lings have a lot of jobs to do, though, as now there's those 2 Immortals still working away at this, and Army supplies is 24 to 21. Lings start filtering through once again, but they all get cleaned up.
Yeah, and 80 more Lings, but then drones. And now from this point, it looks like San is being able to stabilize. He had a great hold. He knew exactly what to do against the way that TargA played this. He sees the +1 attack, but Cars, there's only 24, there's 26 drones versus 42, 24 Lings.
It's too much.
11 drones. Sure, he'll start to catch up in economy soon, but what we will see from San is a movement out. Probably with the next, just go straight for the Warp Prism next. 3 Immortals is great.
Yeah, he has such good firepower behind this, and all he has to do is deny any Ling counterattacks from doing anything. If I'm San here, I leave these 2 sentries in my main base. Don't break down that pylon. Keep those there for the defense, because that's the only way that TargA can really keep himself in it, by going for counterattacks.
Yeah, luckily TargA, as mentioned before, broke the sentry line on this base, which means this attack isn't as powerful as if there were 4 or 5 extra sentries, which wouldn't have died, I think, if he hit his force fields correctly. But his movement out is coming now, and I really think this isn't going to be stopped.
Yeah, I mean...
the drone count's too low. It was TargA invested in the win in the early, not now.
I mean, and now he's having to make drones instead of units when he's like, oh, okay, well, this is going to hit pretty hard. There's a lot of space controls, a lot of firepower. And unfortunately here for TargA, these counterattacks, there's already sentries left at the natural. He could warp them in at the... they're the main. He could warp them in at the natural.
3 spines aren't nothing. They're nothing here. 3 Immortals. He can just warp in more Zealots, Stalkers, whatever. It doesn't matter. He can just go for the fight here. And this cannot be stopped.
Yeah, these sentries get warped in at the natural to try and deal with that, and he just walks straight on up. He could even force field the ramp at the main if he wants to. So San, in game number 1, so far, looking pretty darn good. The Zerglings will actually break through this pylon.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But, yeah, too much firepower.
Yeah, I mean, he can warp in units. He can lose the Nexus. He can go 1 base. It doesn't matter. He can't beat this army.
Even the sentries just sacrificing themselves up against these roaches. As long as those Immortals come up along with that as well, he's going to be fine and dandy. These 3 Immortals, too much to deal with here for TargA, who's getting out a extra roach against this, and just force fielding off those drones.
Yeah, and this is going to go in favor of San, who, as expected, will just find a strategy, execute it, which he did in this game, and is going to pick up a win. No long game needed. It's only the 12-minute mark.
TargA tried to break him, unsuccessful there early on. The roaches really didn't do a whole lot. I have to mention, we did see that be successful in 1 or 2 previous games, but here against San, nuh-uh. GG, game number 1 goes to our Korean Protoss.
And just like last year, the Korean Protosses playing from Korea, finding a way to get victories. We saw Genius, DuckDuck do that. And remember, actually, DuckDuck's season that he won all started from playing online.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In the round of 32, where I think he beat Daishi. Was actually one of the times Daishi lost, I think. With a 4-gate, maybe.
It was just complete aggression.
4-gate, Zealots, everything he could throw at his opponent.
And then he came to the offline and he was like, well, I'm happy to just do my normal games from there. And he looked really, really strong.
And he did. And I'm sure that that's the way that San's looking to take this as well. If he can just get past the round of 32 and find himself in the live show in the round of 16, that's where we're going to see the best performances from San. But TargA now needs to win 2 games in a row to find himself in the decider match against Mini Razor in a little bit.
Unless that gets stopped, we may just see San steamroll through these Zergs and continue his dominance in this matchup, because right now it's looking difficult to deal with him.
Yeah, that's the thing though, because he's so good against Zerg players.
Yeah.
But they have an advantage here, but is it even going to be there? Is that advantage going to be there against San? Because San is so good. The next map I think is Polar Knights. Coming into this one, and I'm expecting a lot of different strategies, a lot of different openings, a lot of bit of confusion to come out from San. May even go for a cannon rush, man. Polar Knight's not a bad map for it.
Yeah, certainly so. A lot of good room in the back of those mineral lines to throw down cannons if you so find them. And well, for now, we'll be jumping into this in just a second. But again, this could happily be a map where San just says, I'm going to go for Zealots and try and do things, because this was the map that we saw him during Singapore a little while ago now, but that he did use that crazy 4-gate pressure. against his opponents. So
yeah, that's it's been quite popular. A lot of Protoss players do use it.
Very scary.
It has adjusted the way that Zerg players play. They sometimes even skip Zergling speed and go straight for Roaches against this type of play. Nurture's very good against this type of play. And Zergs are adapting more and more over time. But of course, if it isn't spotted, if you aren't ready, then it's almost an instant win a lot of the time. So we'll see if San tries something like that. We are now ready, just waiting for one more Russian commentator. Of course, there are a lot of different languages that are broadcasting these games as well as we are.
And it's good. It's good. I like that we have all our partners along for the ride here as we now get into this map. Especially Vasicast. He's entertaining.
Yes, he is.
I have listened to a little bit of him.
He is.
All right, so everyone is getting good to go.
Who do you favor then? Do you think San takes this 2-0, or do you think TargA can actually pull this around in his favor?
From here on out, I have to favor San. Like, not only in this series, but also against Mini Razor because of the power that he has shown in this matchup. I mean, you listed the names just before, and nobody goes those amount of results against those players. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, he's got a great understanding of this matchup.
Yeah.
But TargA has had a lot of practice in Protoss over the last couple of months. He actually speaks and practices a lot with MC, if I'm not mistaken. They do talk and practice a lot. And MC's taught him a lot of things over the last 6 months to maybe, you know, in the last 12 months, I suppose you can argue as well. So TargA is very good against certain play styles the longer the game goes on, especially Void Ray heavy play. Great against the standardized Stalker and Colossus armies as well. It's all going to come down to what I think. Can he survive in the earliest parts of the games? Because then, if he can, where he'll find himself available to pick up wins.
I have to completely agree with that. In terms of how his preparation has gone in this matchup especially, he's so good in the mid-game. It's very hard to break TargA in the mid-game. But the earlier portions, San is just looking too good. It's hard to really deal with it. So we're loading up now into game number 2. San currently 1 game up against TargA, our Norwegian Zerg, who by all means, does not want to be getting out in this place. If he goes out in 4th in this group after having a 7th and 8th spot finish during Season 3, that's just not where he wants to be.
Yeah, I think TargA was non-existent in Season 1 and WCS Challenger Season 2, top 8 Season 3. Massive, massive climbs of results last year. But of course, he'd be going backwards here.
Certainly would, as we have his opponent spawning down to the south as our blue Protoss representing Yo Flash Wolves. It is San. And up to the north, we have our red Zerg representing Norway. It's TargA.
Just like Lena, Yo Flash Wolves.
Yo, yo, yo.
Playing in the Taiwan Esports League.
You know, it's the first time ever in Cologne that I'd met Lenok, and he was a delightful guy.
Lenok's awesome, man.
He's really cool, yeah. He really wanted the Baneling. He really wanted that Baneling, but no one could have the Baneling. It was Kim's.
Yeah, Lenok's great. A lot of people that were here as well, they were laughing at me and him messing around.
Yeah.
I'd like be slapping his backside and pushing him through doors and stuff, and he'd be running away.
Aww.
And the Koreans actually call Lenok Samgyeopsal, which is the Korean pork.
Yeah.
Samgyeopsal belly, because that's just like a big, massive pork belly.
How old is Lenok now?
Really young. He's like 20 now. Well, I say really younger.
No, I think he's younger than 20, isn't he?
19, 20, isn't he? Oh, 18.
Yeah.
He's not too far away from 19. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That guy. Teammates with San is the
best buds.
Yeah, correlation there.
All right. Well, as you can already see, TargA's checking out for any kind of cannons or something like that.
Yeah. I shall not be cannon rushed.
Yeah.
And then decides to go over to the hatchery first here, which is obviously a great opening against this Gateway Expand. There's no need for TargA to take huge risks here. There's no need for him to go 3 hatcheries before spawning pool, even though he scouted and see no cannon rush. Should be looking at the spawning pool straight away here. And more so just trying to figure out what San's plan is, because that's the way San will play this series. That's the way he'll look for a win, is to choose something. If TargA can spot what that is and have the correct response, because he spotted what it was last time, just his response wasn't correct, then he can find himself a win.
And we saw TargA actually playing a lot of like triple hatchery plays in the previous seasons of WCS Europe, but here now against a player like San, it just kind of doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it'd be very, very difficult to really make work. He's pro moving out. That's probably just going to be looking for that natural. And aside from that, he's going to get in here and see the Gateway Expand.
Yeah, Gateway Expand, single gas. Zealot is or it's not cancelled.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you do keep it, and you can go harass with it with the probe as well. So you can go Zealot and Mothership Core together, and then even the probe, and do a little bit of damage with the both units together, and then get the expansion down. Forces a couple of lings. If you're lucky, you may even get a drone kill.
Yeah, actually, now that I look at it, that probe was looking for like a natural steal, considering the path that it was on and the timing it moved out there for a second. But he's keeping this. He confirmed the natural and then moved straight down to the third base to see if anything was going on there. So he needs to keep this alive. The Zerglings, though, going to spot it very quickly. Not chase it. Wait, you tricky probe. He didn't actually go towards the Overlord either. He would have spotted it if it had kept going that way. Oh well.
2 lings run past the Zealots.
2 gateways.
And then the Mothership Core does come to intercept them. But yeah, he's going to spot the double gateways here. And I think one of the most crucial things is looking for that second gas there inside the main base.
Yeah, he gets in as well.
Which he would definitely like to check with these links. And it's not there, as you see. And there is the 4th gateway queued up. So he's going to go in and see that. And you can't really defend this with only Zerglings.
Yep.
You can if you build a lot and be able to get on top of the Zealots early. But ideally, you need a Roach Warren.
And there it goes. Well, this is, I mean, we kind of predicted this kind of style coming out on Polar Night, and in the end, TargA gets full confirmation, probably after assuming it was going to be the case himself anyway. So now he can prepare himself, ideally, to deal with this kind of play. So.
Yeah, he hasn't got a third base. I mean, where are the Zealots really going to attack? Right to the natural?
Even at that point, it like doesn't really do much, right?
No.
Like,
I mean, there's going to be roaches on the way.
So he has to abandon and do something else.
Well, you'd think so. He's got a pylon on the right-hand side, which has got an Overlord right on top of it.
Yeah.
So he knows where it's even coming from. There should be no way that this can work. He spots 3 Zealots warping in, and they actually waited to build roaches until he saw the 3 Zealots. So what I would do if I'm TargA is do not engage. Let him build up. Let him waste all his minerals and Zealots, and then crush it with the roaches you have. Because you've got a spot on. You can see exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and meanwhile, San doesn't know that his opponent's watching it, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity for him. He actually has to warp in sentries back at home to deal with that, but the Zealots keep amassing, and he's just spotted right outside of it, and now he's going to go in, or at least show that he knows it's there.
He's got to be careful. There's only 3 roaches here. Oh, there's 4 more being built. Okay. But, of course, with the Mothership Core there to help soon.
Yeah, I mean, the roaches were ideal just to push this away. There's nothing San can actually do to close the gap, so it's just sits there and
gases have been taken, or 1 gas has been taken, robotics facility added on. And with the sentries being built up, could see an immortal push as the follow-up from this.
Yeah, we certainly could do. As for now, San's just alleviating himself a bit of a supply position that he did get himself blocked with that pylon going down over on the right-hand side.
Yeah. That's a lot of units, though, that TargA built. It's not ideal, because if you think about the units that were made, it was only 5 Zealots, and they all, well, apart from 1 came back. So it was 6 Zealots, 5 survived. That was a lot of units that TargA made to deal with that. 10 Roaches and 11 Zerglings. Ideally, you would have liked to, if you commit to building all of those units, kill all the Zealots, but they escaped. So TargA right now has a lot of useless units he can't really do anything with. If he tries to poke at the front door, there's the Mothership Core, the Force Fields, and potentially even a Mortal out in time, which he could lose. So his drone count isn't quite ideal here. So even though San, didn't do any damage and had to fall back and then get ready for an Immortal attack, TargA building so many units hasn't really pushed his economy that strong where he can be able to build enough units to defend against his next attack potentially.
Yeah, he's just droning furiously after having those units really not do a lot for him. And he's going to get up to probably around 55 to 60, and then from that point on just make out units. Because right now he's keeping an eye on his opponent's third base.
I think his drone count's okay now, 52.
Oh, okay.
And he should just go Roach speed now. Roach speed is kind of important. It's going to be quite Zergling heavy, more so than Roach heavy, because he's on 3 gas, not 4. 4 gas is ideal to get a good Roach count up. And he's going to use some of his mineral sink into spines as well.
Yeah, it's a good choice. It certainly is.
And also because he's going to get the spines, because the attack is always going to be on this right-hand side. It's very rarely goes straight towards the natural of the Zerg player. And it looked like he had a counterattack set up on the left-hand side, which was spotted by a single Zealot.
It's a good move by him.
Run away.
It's a very good move by San to keep an eye on that counterattack potential. But the Overlord doesn't see the movement out, but Ling did on the watchtower. So now he knows what's going on. There's a lot of force fields that he has banked up there, though. Has to be careful.
Yeah, only Roach has been built, though. So it's actually gas minerals quite well balanced for the time being, but it will start to go more in favor of the minerals over time. But we are going to see this movement forward. A counterattack launched. It's 3 spines, queens, and roaches. All the queens there. every single queen.
And that's quite a strong army that he has. He's also spreading creep, which makes it a little bit easier to deal with because there is no observer there. Wait, no, I think there is an observer. It's actually moving out with this because he realizes.
There's a lot of probes dying.
Where are the probes going?
Yeah, they're just going for it. And actually, look at the Sand's actually moving. He saw the spines and was like, all right, I'm going this side.
Yeah, and he's going to catch quite a few of these units very quickly. One of those queens falls down. They did have energy for transfuses, but, you know, you can't transfuse yourself. As all those queens fall very, very fast. Only 2 immortals with this. Not a whole lot of range firepower just in the sentries that are going to try and deal with this. And the roaches close the gap, catch a few of those sentries as well. A lot of force fields has to be expended here. And meanwhile, the counterattack still doing a little bit, but it all gets caught in between on the ramp.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. As long as he keeps those force fields up, of course.
2 immortals still live forever for the time being, but how much longer?
Living up to their name, but the roaches pin them down, get one of the immortals. Second one will end up falling as well, but apart from the hot pickup. And now these roaches still doing all right at the front.
I think we can call this a successful hold from TargA.
Yep.
Well done.
Nicely done indeed. Unfortunately for San, if you're committing to that 4 gates worth of aggression and you don't do anything with it, that slows quite a lot down. And in the end, Mr. TargA was able to prepare.
Yep, and he's in good shape. He's in pretty good shape. He's got 50 drones still. If you think that he stopped on 52 and he maybe added on the spines, he went down to 48 or whatever, apart from the 2 that got killed there. Didn't lose any drones, kept his production up, kept his hatcheries alive, is able to just rebuild. He's going for an infestation pit here. 2 options available is the pathogen glands for the fungal growth to lock down the units, or you can just go over towards swarm hosts, which is going to be quite difficult to break with Zealot, Sentry, Immortal. So 2 options available from TargA, but a pretty good defense. San's going to try and find himself back into this game, though, via this.
Don't think it'll get a whole lot. It will deny a little bit of mining time, but aside from that, all TargA now has to do is expand where he wants, push when he wants, do whatever he wants, as he probably anticipates his opponent just going for another follow-up attack, which right now, I mean, 59 drones and, well, enduring locusts. He's gonna be okay against this, I should think.
Forge and Twilight Council coming in, so it looks like San is going to look to try to take a 3rd base very shortly, not just go for another attack.
It's important.
And we are going to see Swarm Hosts and a Forge and Twilight Council. Well, I suppose the Forge kind of helps, but the Twilight Council does not. And with the creep spread extending towards this left-hand side now, through the middle of the map, that's where the Swarm Hosts are going to start to launch their attack. No way will TargA allow San to take a 3rd base easily in this game.
Nice warp in, but in the end gets spotted instantly. They load up and get on out there. And the extra push is going to be coming here by the looks of things for San. I don't know, it's just not going to work. One Ling gets sent forward to see an Immortal that's now going to get absolutely obliterated. Unless that's warping, actually. Oh, saves it. That was cute. But still, this counterattack does well for itself. Wait, how many units does he have over here?
I'm surprised that he added on the Forge and Twilight Council then attacked. Was this a fake out?
I don't think he spotted it. Where was it? Did he cancel them?
He cancelled the Twilight, okay.
Okay.
I guess he had plans to take a 3rd and then was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's not going to work,
kind of weird.
So he cancelled the Twilight and then just went for this.
This was actually a good assault location here, but where is this observer? He needs to over here to deal with those swarm hosts, but there's actually not that many of them. There's only 3.
There's only, 2 of them there on the 3rd.
This could actually get out of hand if TargA's not careful. He's making a lot of roaches, though, as the force fields once again will go down, pinning some of those roaches in, and those 2 immortals are still not dying. 20 kills on one of them, but the Stalker numbers are being whittled down, as are the Sentry numbers. So as long as TargA continues to hold on, reinforces again, there's really not going to be any space control here for San at all. And he gets on top of that Immortal, kills that off as well. So TargA holds on strong for the 2nd wave of this assault. For now.
For now. For now. Swarm Host perfect against this, though. With no splash damage, it is hard.
And that one Immortal only barely just saved itself. The problem is that the Warp Prism is elsewhere, trying to put on some harassment over to the left-hand side. So Immortals would normally like to have that, once again, hot pickup, but can't really do that when it's nowhere near to help out.
Well, gonna have to try again. He's on 2 bases. He's got no long term in this game. It has to be now.
If you're gonna all in, you're gonna all in with style. That's what Sam's gonna say. And he continues on with it. And the Warp Prism wisely coming back to try and help out. But those 4 queens, if they intercept, oh, you can't use it anymore. Oh well, sad times.
I love Swarmhosts. I actually like Swarmhosts.
They're doing all right for themselves here.
They're doing very well here.
And the way Vortex used them was very cool.
Yes. The way Stefano uses them, a little less cool.
A bit less cool, yeah.
But still,
he doesn't care.
The funny thing is I know that some of these games are bad, but once you start to use Swarmhosts, they're actually pretty fun. They deal a lot of damage, and they're really cool.
They deal a lot.
They're really cool.
They're really cool, guys. GG, TargA ties it up 1-1 after a prolonged attempt at an all-in there from San.
That's right. So now we go to game number 3 between these two players, and it's all to fight for. TargA displayed that if you defend against what San is going to use, then you can find yourself in a good position, and he will need to do that again. But it will depend on the map, I suppose, and what we could potentially see from San the man.
San the man. Yeah, it's... I think we just... Well, what map were we on? Did you notice?
No, I do not know yet.
Let's find out quick. Okay, so
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain.
So Heavy Rain offers a lot of options for, again, 4-gate pressure. Yeah. It could be some wonky DT build that you're not quite expecting. But overall, you do have pretty good scouting available on this map. With Overlords to be able to get in good position, usually around the main. I think TargA will be liking this, especially because the way that the European Zerg style is, if you get to Swarmhost, you're quite good on this map. It's a good map for Swarmhost. And TargA showed us that he'd like to use Swarmhost and thought they were the right decision in that game. If we do see San dedicate to something to win the game early, that's not pushing him towards Colossus and stuff, the splash damage to be able to deal with Swarmhost. So I do favor this map for TargA.
We'll see if that unfolds. I'm going to have to stick with San. I think that, you know, if he's able to find a room. But then... TargA's doing really good about his scouting. Yeah. God, I'm torn.
It's really funny because San has gained a lot of points with the massive win that he got at the Aces tournament at the start. Well, the start of the year, the end of January, whichever you want to look at it. He got 750 points for that. Then combine that he's playing in the Taiwan Esports League, and that he's got points for being in Premier today. He's currently 3rd in the overall world ranking, which is really, really high. But he's not going to get any points from this season if he loses this next game. And he's had a very hard time, if you include GSL over the last couple of years, in getting anything when it comes to results. The last time he did anything really substantial in WCS or GSL was years ago with his top 4 finish. Every other time he's qualified once and dropped out straight away. And that could repeat itself again today.
Yeah, I mean... He won 2 TESL seasons over there, but in the grand scheme of the world, it's not really that well sought after, right? He went over there, defeated Sen twice in the finals to actually claim that victory, and we haven't seen Sen for a while either, to be honest with you. So not the hugest of competition over in that region. But now we start our countdown. And we're going to be getting on to Heavy Rain. It's 1-1 apiece. One of these players is falling out of Premier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And one will go on to fight against Mini Razor for the decider. Will it be a rematch again that TargA can show that he is capable of competing with Mini Razor? Or does San wipe a Zerg out and look to kill another one?
Certainly could do. Let's get onto this map in just a little bit. But in general, it's been a really, really fun day of games once again. I think that I wasn't really expecting some of these games to unfold how they did. And there was a few dramatic moments, to say the least.
A few. But all good fun.
Yes.
All good fun.
All good fun indeed. So... If San were to advance on, for example, would you favor San over Mini Razor?
I favor anyone against San right now.
You favor anyone against San because they know like how he plays, and
when you play with latency issues, it's obviously the latency issue is going to affect your game, but it's not really affecting San directly. It's indirectly affecting him because he's not capable of doing what he usually does.
Yes.
So the games that we see, latency isn't as much of an issue, but it's the things that we can't see because of the latency, which is hurting him a lot. So his playstyle is very, very tight right now. It's very simple to read. It's very easy to play against compared to his usual playstyle. He can't really play past the 50-minute mark because there's too many actions, too many things to do all at the same time, which will hurt him. He won't be able to fight properly. So he's limited to just playing aggressive, which is, I think, the biggest problem right now. And for anybody that is capable of being in the Premier League, is capable of beating a player like that.
And I think for a player like San, one thing that makes him shine above all else is really his control and his micro that you normally see do very, very well in something like an Immortal push that would come down. So despite him getting force fields down in that game, for example, they probably weren't as pristine as they normally would be because his force fields are normally really on point. And in a big open area like that, it's really difficult to make that work when you have latency issues.
Yeah, I think TargA's going to take this one. I'm just going to have to stick to my guns.
And then we'd see the rematch of TargA versus Mini Razor.
I have faith in TargA. I have complete faith in his clan tag, his clan picture, and his game now.
Well, we are loaded up and good to go into game number 3. So let's jump right on in as we have spawning down to the southern position as our red Zerg. He is TargA. And up to the north, our blue Protoss Korean. It is your Flash Wolf San.
And before we do jump into this, do remember, I actually was browsing Twitter in between games, and the balance patch for StarCraft 2, which everyone's been discussing a lot recently, is upcoming on Friday the 28th, in just a couple of days.
Wow, okay.
That soon.
That's quick.
So I actually just retweeted Kim Fan, the head of esports at Blizzard. So definitely be excited for that. I'm looking forward to that, to see the changes. There is actually a whole forum post of the changes that I retweeted. So you guys just go on Twitter. You will see what it is. And I'm looking forward to that because a couple of changes I think are definitely needed right now.
Yeah.
And we'll see that come through in just a few days. It's been very fast. Blizzard have been very active in the last couple of days and responding and writing and being in contact with the community, which has been really cool to see.
I'm very happy now that I've kind of leaned away from using Blink Aggression, as it is going to take a bit of a hit with the Mothership Core's vision decreasing. But I think a lot of things in terms of how Protoss is playing out right now is going to take a bit of a hit. The Mothership Core provides so much great scouting ability right now. Yes, it will still provide quite a bit of scouting ability in general, but just, you're going to have to be that extra bit dedicated with it. So you might end up losing it in those situations.
Yeah. Got to be super careful.
Gotta be.
But for now, we do remain on the current patch, of course, which the game is in. And that means the Mothership Core has large range.
Sees everything.
It sees everything. But that's definitely one of the issues that will be addressed for sure. All right, so we have a gateway expansion once again here from San, who may or may not build or cancel the Zealot, depending on how you want to play this out. But TargA has opened up for the hatchery first again, realizing that San is favoring going towards the gateway play, and he is just going to capitalize on that opening by gaining a small edge, knowing that he cannot be attacked earlier on, and is taking an extractor here to start to look towards potential super early roaches, but obviously just Zergling speed.
And he sees a probe moving out, so he can try and keep tabs on that, know it's going to be arriving at his base pretty soon afterwards, and then build a few Zerglings and try and keep an eye on it, because you do have to, against a player like San, can always be a little bit of a tricky customer. You never know when a proxy pylon's going to be going down for later gateway attacks.
Yeah, absolutely got to try and keep track of that probe, ideally. The Overlord saw the Zealot that had been made and is in a pretty good position to check the gas, because you don't want to take the gas on the left-hand side because then it's very easy for the Overlord on the right-hand side to poke in and see it. But then again, it's like I said earlier, it's easy for Zerg to poke in and scout. That Overlord's going to be quite important to poke in to spot that lack of second gas. Without the lack of second gas means we will have a gateway play again, and that means that TargA will be in good spot to defend it.
And these Zerglings are looking for that probe where they can, but the probe's going to hide in the middle of the map by the looks of things. Once again, this is a very plain sight position, but that Zergling is rallied, so if he doesn't move this Zergling, eventually it does... Wait, is it that one or this one? One of them was rallied up there, so he must have changed the direction. Or it was the Zealot. No, it was one of the Zergling. Anyway, the point is that one of them was rallied up there to spot that probe, and the probe's just going to poke in, not see any third, and he may abandon any aggressive ideas.
Yeah, well, he's throwing down the gas. So he's got these three, and actually the Overlord, as mentioned, pokes and sees it. It's very important to spot that. You can tell exactly what your opponent's up to. And with the timing of that, he has got the extra gateways on the natural, which TargA is going to spot again with the Zergling. So he spotted the second gas. He's now seen the additional gateways. He knows exactly his opponent's build. One gateway expansion into walling off with two gateways into attack. But there still is the threat He's got 3 gateways completed still. There is that pylon out there. There still is a threat towards the third base.
Yeah, only Zerglings in production. There's the Roach Warren going down. It's a little bit later than I was anticipating compared to the previous game. And this could absolutely still whop him. He still could.
Especially if he's able to kill that third. There are 10 Lings being built to have a bit of more control and a bit of a harder grasp on this game. And he is actively looking around to see if there is anything from these 3 gateways potentially out there.
Oh, and he will see it.
That's a good scout. That's a very good pickup there.
Yeah, he saw it as that first wave really warps in. So he does have a bit of time to prepare. And we'll see what he's going to do. Because
Roach Warren's going to complete 2.
Yeah. So he can make a few of those. These Lings are going to buy him loads of time, though, because as these Zealots have to move out, that leaves the pylon vulnerable. So he's got to be so careful.
7 Roaches, and I imagine drone production after this. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So compared to the last game, I think he built like 20 Lings and 11 Roaches or something, but this is a lot shorter. It's 14 Lings and only 7 Roaches. So not as committing too heavily towards it, as he knows it shouldn't be too big of a problem to deal with. And we do have the Robo, Forge, and Gases.
All right. Well, the Lings are going to poke forwards here. See the Robo facility being Chrono boosted, but it's just into the Observer.
Yeah, and he spots that too.
Yeah, he saw it and actually stopped. So that's a good pickup there for TargA to know exactly what's going on and
He's
what's
going to
being
get a pylon
produced.
on the right-hand side, maybe.
He certainly could do, and he actually had to recall those Zealots out on the forward pylon.
Yeah. That force field, you see, just wasn't needed there.
Yeah.
But that's delay there. You clicked it, and then the Zerglings left, and the force field still went on. But whatever the case, it is going to be an Immortal push once again, with the +1 attack this time. I don't think that was present in the last game. No, it wasn't. It was later he added the Forge.
Yeah,
But
he
TargA's
started it,
doing exactly the same, Claris. He's going to stop his drone production soon. He's going to go up to roughly 50 drones, 3 gases, able to produce a lot of units.
Yeah, this is going to be a good setup once again for him. This is looking hard for San. He's going to send in this Observer and have a look around and see what he can spot. But aside from that...
Is he going to take a third instead of spending it on...
I guess so.
He's spending that money on the third instead of the gateways. Okay.
There's still the Chrono Boost into the Immortals, though.
And TargA's going to see that. So what does TargA do? Drones 10 times. And we'll take his gases on his third and we'll choose a tech from the layer. I suppose, yeah.
All right.
+2 attack's going to be on the way. So it's going to be like a Blink Stalker, a Mortal attack.
Yeah.
Double Evo comes in as TargA realizes he's not going to get hit with a 2 base.
So it buys him a little bit of time to get those upgrades going, and then from there on out, he still needs to sniff around and find out what's going on.
He's going to play Swarm Host. He's got double Evo and the Infestation Pit coming in. You'd imagine Swarm Host on this map. Zergling heavy on a small, tight map like this, it's not the greatest.
So Swarm Host absolutely the go-to, just to control all of these locations.
This army's really strong, though. You know, TargA's droning up and upgrading and everything, but he hasn't really got enough to deal with this army.
He has 7
He had no
roaches.
scouting through the middle. He's got a counterattack on the other side, but that is not useful. He can just snipe the hatch and get out.
He's going to lose his base. Force field on this, and it actually catches a lot of those drones in there. Meanwhile, he can just force field off a lot of it on this right-hand side as well. He just kills this and goes away.
This is really big.
Oh,
this is huge.
And there's the Guardian Shield. There's the force fields. He's trying to keep that alive with transfuses, but it goes down. He recalls out. The third base was being hit, but he's going to stop that with the recall.
Wow. That's really big. That's huge in a game that's 1-1. Game decider, this one, and TargA loses his third base.
TargA's kicking himself. He's sending his queens to go for the aggressive. Where is he going? He can't make that work.
No, he's got to bring these queens back. He can't do that. There's going to be more and more units warped in, and he should be fine. Obviously, there's no photon overcharge, but with more units warped in, I can't really see him taking too much damage here.
I think at this point, TargA's going to have to just... He's like feigning aggression
he's
to the
back with the queen.
Yeah, and then he has to go back and then rely on swarm hosts for the entirety of this game. That has just been spotted the infestation pit, and he can probably anticipate what's going on from there. So starts his Robo Bay right away.
With the upgrades for melee here, he's definitely looking towards going up to Hive pretty fast in this game. He's going to try to utilize I'd imagine, the Great Aspire here. So he's going to get Swarm Host, which protect him overall against a lot of different timings, while he tries to go up towards, I think, which has been really slowed down now, Hive, Spire, and then Broodlords eventually. But we'll see where he goes. He has to build a Swarm Host first of all. But there is a second Robo, Colossus coming in, Warp Prism. And San says, you know what? Yeah, I'm playing from Korea. Yeah, I got latency issues. But I'm going to play this out. I'm going to play this for the longer game. He's got a massive lead. He just needs to kind of build the right army against what TargA's going for and try try to win that way.
Yeah, right now he's got the setup off the back of having his opponent having no information in the middle of the map, which is a really big blow for him there. But for now, I mean, he's keeping good eyes on his opponent. He sees the swarm hosts popping out, so he knows the particular time that he's at right now in this game. San has opportunities here, very good opportunities to keep this going.
All right, well, definitely in a good spot. The Warp Prism spotted on the right-hand side. And, well, he's got no static D for the time being.
Sees the hive timing.
Yeah.
And these Zealots get dropped right on top of this fourth base, but have to be picked up. The Roaches are way too close to that vicinity.
Yeah, it's always nice to have Roachlings with the Swarm Host. They are your mobility against these attacks, considering that Swarm Hosts are slow.
And there we have now, once again, just killing a few Zealots there.
Uh-oh, fourth base. Alarm bells should be ringing. There's a lot of force fields here, and there is a recall available again.
Yeah. All right, this is going to be a bit scary because with that amount of force fields he has, he can control the flow of
the swarm hosts.
Uh-oh, bye-bye fourth base. San's playing this out great. And just says, well, I'll just walk away, I guess.
Doesn't need a recall if you can just walk back, I suppose, but he is going to.
Yeah, he would have lost a few of those sentries with those locusts closing in. But now a counterattack here.
And the big Warp Prism warping in the main base as well, so San is starting to outplay TargA a little bit here.
Yeah, he's going to focus down on the hive, and these Roaches need to come back very, very quickly to deal with that. There's a lot of health on this hive, plus 2 weapons on this. We should be able to kill it off pretty quickly.
It should be okay with transfuses there.
Yeah, it should be. And there we go, there's a few transfuses. So should be able to clean this up in the end. But that was very close. And that leaves it vulnerable for a later attack.
Absolutely. And that definitely will happen here. But San has got a split push going on here. This is the classic way to play against Swarmos. He's got his main army on the right-hand side, Warp Prism floating around, and also a pylon on the right-hand side to warp in Zealot waves down to that right. Just perfect positional play once again from San.
And this Warp Prism accompanies this army that is pushing on through here. So very, very good use of this to reinforce as quickly as he can do. Break down those spines and could probably just walk right on out of here after seeing the Locust positioning. I mean, there's no reason not to, as if he just warps in some Zealots up to the north. Should be fine. Oh, he could even kill this. He doesn't care.
He can kill this. He can back out. There's a Colossus is going to die there. That's a little bit unfortunate, but he can kill this third again. He can actually kill the third, back out again, and use Zealots on the right-hand side. But TargA's going for a counterattack himself, so I guess the recall is the best option here, just to take the fight on his third base.
Yeah.
Once he realizes the units are there, I imagine that's what he'll do.
One Colossus there is indeed vulnerable. The second one, actually, he has so many Colossi. He already has 5 out on the field right now. He's also transitioning onto +1 weapons, as well as Stargates. One of these Colossi will end up falling, as well as second. But aside from that, the Warp Prism's already doing damage. He can quite easily focus down the hive. TargA has been stretched left and right in this game.
The best way to play against Swarm Hosts.
Yeah. And he's doing it so well. Because at this point,
he's got Warp Prism in the main, army out in the middle, and then he just warped in 2 Zealots, and I'm sure that will increase on the right-hand side. While all of this, taking a fourth and the Stargates, getting +1 attack, preparing himself to play against Brood Lords, whatever, Corruptors, doesn't matter. This is really a good game from San, and despite the problems we talked about with his latency issues, this time, he's playing well. Yeah,
I'm having a hard time catching everything going on. I mean, the army did end up recalling back, so that's fine and safe here. But at the same time, Zealots are over in this fourth base as well. The income has been completely shot for TargA throughout the past 10 minutes of this game. And he's had no room to breathe.
Yeah, and San is just spending his money all the time with this aggression, with the pylon that was on the right-hand side, with the Warp Prism picking off another base here. But TargA now starting kind of to stabilize again. He's very low on drones. He's about to get some bases up and running again. But overall, his income is just absolutely terrible in this game. 1,000 minerals a minute compared to 2,000 of San.
Yeah, I mean, how do you stabilize against this in the end? You were mentioning that, you know, he's taken a little bit of a stabilization route during all of this, but now he has to deal with still the Warp Prism, still this huge army that's amassing, still trying to go for counterattacks.
Well, San's just seen all the Swarm Hosts, and I would build Void Rays here. There is no Corruptors, there's nothing. Yeah. There is nothing here to stop this.
Still Zealots denying these bases constantly. This Warp Prism has been an absolute MVP in this game. The Swarm Hosts close the gap, and he does have the opportunity to grab any units that will come along to defend, or even throw down Blinding Clouds if he wants to.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going to take a fight. He's just going to fight head on. Hopefully smash through the Locust with the Archons, buffering quite a bit, and the Colossus dealing damage at the back, and then trying to jump on the Swarm Hosts.
Whoa!
That's a nice harassment from TargA, though. Good wave, back out. And now he is starting to stabilize, slowly getting himself back up and running on these bases. Did a little damage, used his Swarm Host well. And it has hurt Sand's income a little bit.
There's that moment where I forget just how good the DPS of Locust is, and then I see a Nexus die that quickly, and I'm like,
really
oh my god.
It's funny though, Sand's not using his air. Like, he's got Stargates and Plus from tap, but he's not using it. He's just adding more and more ground army. He's looking just to power through the Swarm Hosts.
One High Templar dies after that, but he blinks forwards aggressively to try and catch some of this.
That was bad. That was a bad blink.
Yeah, it didn't really get a whole lot done with that. Tries to pick up one of the Stalkers to save it in the Warp Prism.
TargA turning up the pressure himself though. Look at these links on the left-hand side.
Doing all right. The Cannon's going to try and hold on, warping in a lot of Zealots that should be able to clean this up with +3 weapons. And right now, another grab there forwards with the Blinding Clouds in tandem to actually deal quite a bit of damage to this army of San, who, well, sacrificing Archons as well as Colossi against just Locusts.
There's a lot here. TargA's doing well. He's playing this really, really well.
Really holding on. Has to recall out. Poor Immortal gets left.
And that's a lot that San just lost, by the way. That was a lot of units he just lost. And he didn't really do anything to TargA there. He killed off maybe 2 Swarm Hosts and, I don't know, a couple of units at the front.
Yeah, it's the War Prism that's still being a deadly threat and dancing on around here, but he still sees just Swarm Host, Swarm Host, Swarm Host.
There is no Spire in this game, though. I guess that TargA's been so starved of money, just really hasn't found the time to do that and add that on. Imagine if, I'm not kidding, just imagine if Void Rays were added into this.
No, you're right. It's a great call.
I'm not kidding. I'm surprised he's not using his Stargate.
You just can't deal with that at this point as TargA. Like, if the thing is that in Sand's position, you have a great ground army. Why not throw that extra little power punch into it, which your opponent is very unlikely to deal with because you know you've kept him back in terms of economy.
Yeah, but TargA's economy may not be good enough to fight against this just onslaught of just pushing and pushing and pushing with the same army over and over and over.
Yeah, and it's constantly hitting everywhere.
Yeah, look at, again, another attack over here.
Really, really well done.
There's the Void Ray production, finally. Because this will just end the game.
Yeah.
There's no Spire, there's no anti-air. There's 3 Queens, which are used for productions here. If he just builds 6 Void Rays and attacks with them, an Observer there in the mix, there's nothing to stop them.
It really felt as if San was over-anticipating his opponent's position and being like, right, as soon as you go for a Mutalisk, I'm going to have something available for it. Or if you transition onto those Broodlords, I'm going to be okay. But he never had the opportunity to do any of these things, did TargA. San was just constantly really keeping him pinned down.
Well, the thing is, even though TargA is really hurting now, it's
sad.
The longer the game goes on, the more trades that TargA can take. There is a chance that he gets, really get deep this game, but it's not going to be easy now that we see San making the right composition. The Warp Prism's still alive. Yeah, it's not looking good. Storm just completed as well for these Templar. I think TargA's always just been, unfortunately, behind in this game. It started when he lost that 3rd base. He didn't see the movement through the middle, and it was such a small army. If he had built units to, intercept it, had units in position, it would have been a much different game. But he's always been on the back foot, looking for a way to find himself back in this game. Pathogen Glands is the anti-air that's going to be used. Infestors, Fungal Growth.
But does it come in time?
Not really. Not really.
This is going to be difficult. Those Archons are just going to buffer whilst everything else closes the gap. 4 Colossi. Brilliant number here to clean up a lot of these Locusts as well, and now this base is going to be absolutely obliterated. There's really not much the TargA can do to save that.
And there's an Observer with the army as well, so once again he picks off another base now and will charge. He'll charge for the win now, Kalaris.
Yeah, it's such a strong army to deal with, and TargA here, even if he was able to kill this off, his economy is completely shot once again. Void Rays are going to go in for this fight. So a lot of Blinding Clouds to deal with the firepower that we're seeing here, but the blink forwards, the closing of the gap, the killing of the Swarm Hosts, and this is just going to be San's game. GG, well played.
And unfortunately for TargA, who was top 8 in Season 3, the last season we played in the World Championship Series, falls in the round of 32. And San, who's been on fire recently in the last couple of months with his performances, finds a way to scrape through and make it to the decider match.
All right, well, that means we now know that final series. It's going to be Mini Razor versus San to find out who takes that 2nd spot in the round of 16. So join us after the break when we shall find that out here at WCS Europe.